But when you think of Kentucky, the first thing that pops in your head most likely are basketball players, basketball coaches, Rupp, Calipari, Tubby Smith. Football does not come to mind at all. And I think if you tried right now to name 5 Kentucky football players over the years, and we'll even make it a little more difficult, outside of the 3 I just named, I think you'd be hard-pressed to. I genuinely believe that it would take you quite some time, and a lot of you who are listening right now would not be able to name 5 Kentucky football players. And that gets me to my point. Outside of Vanderbilt, Kentucky is the most irrelevant football program in the SEC, and you lost to them and their 4th-string quarterback on Saturday night. People forget they lost a quarterback earlier this year. I know they lost Terry Wilson, but we're not even counting, and I'm forgetting the guy's name, but they lost another guy. And then obviously Sawyer Smith has been dealing with injuries, so he didn't play and participate in that game. So they lost to a 4th-string quarterback on Saturday night in Lexington, Kentucky. Here with Matty T, I'm Ty Richardson. This is Halftime. Phil Elson is going to be in Canada with the kiddos through Wednesday. So me and Matty T will get you today, Tuesday, and Wednesday as well. You can listen to us on ESPN Arkansas, either 104.3 in Harrison Mountain Home, ESPN 96.3 in Hot Springs, ESPN 95.3 in Fort Smith in the River Valley. Also on hitthatline.com, our live stream, as well as our live video stream, which is airing on Facebook, Twitter, and then as well as YouTube. So we have a lot of different ways. Really, there's so many different ways that you can listen to the program. It's really on you if you don't listen. Our phone number, Cherokee Casino Hotline, 877-377-6963. I know we're going to get to a lot of calls, a lot of texts today, so feel free to get on the conversation anytime you want. Try and stay on topic, and the topic is going to be the majority of Arkansas, Kentucky, and what's going to transpire the rest of the season. So let's look back at this game. 13-0 midway through the second quarter. It looked good for Arkansas, but it didn't end like you wanted it to. And it's on me, it's on others for getting a little bit excited to what looked like a win, because at the end of the day, you knew what was going to happen. Now, you might not have predicted how it happened, but you knew it was going to happen. I don't know if you guys saw, but Lynn Bowden was named the co-SEC Offensive Player of the Week. This is the guy that hadn't started all season, that was playing wide receiver, that was a Dexter McCluster type, a do-it-all guy for the Wildcats, and he comes in at quarterback and looks like an All-American, just rushing through 11 passes, 78 yards and a touchdown. But what he did is torch you on the ground. 196 yards, 2 TDs. And again, I want to stress this. I don't know how many times I need to stress this. Their 4th-string quarterback. 4th-string quarterback, and you made him look like an All-American on Saturday night. It's incredible. So if I would have told you that Arkansas would win the turnover battle, 1-0. Sam Loy had a really good game. He competed with their All-American punter, whose name's Braden Mann was for Texas A&M, and I'm forgetting who Kentucky's was. But he competed with it. And then also you have them actually starting fast. Rakeem Boyd goes for 70-plus yards in the opening minutes of the football game. Yet you still found a way to lose. I think the turnover battle, starting fast and competing special teams-wise, I mean, Traylon Burks had a pretty good punt return. You have Connor Limpert nailing his 2 field goal attempts. You would have said, yeah, they have a pretty good chance to win the game, and they did. But once again, the inability to finish plagued this football team. Offensive line looked good at first, obviously, with Rakeem Boyd's opening run. They gave up 7 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, 4 quarterback hurries that really slowed down. Really, towards the end of the game was when they were needed most. Dustin Fry's guys came up short. You have the sack on Ben Hicks and also the play where he's hit, trying to let the ball. That was the 4th down play. And then the defense, for them to give up 2 60-plus, 160-plus, 170-plus final drives to Kentucky. And it goes back to the inability to finish. And this was a team that's coming off a bye week like Kentucky. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Kentucky was world beaters this week. They didn't exactly play the most flawless game in the world, but they did enough to win. So now you face off against Auburn, who's ticked off because they lost the previous week. I believe Bob Holt put out the stat that Auburn has never lost under Gus Malzahn coming off a bye week. So now you get that coming to Fayetteville for the 11 a.m. game. So it's not going to get any easier. I know they're got a true freshman quarterback in Bo Nix, and I know that Boobie Whitlow's not going to be participating in this game, but it's not going to be easy for Arkansas. It's only going to get more difficult for Arkansas the rest of the way, outside of Western Kentucky and maybe Mississippi State because they're reeling a little bit. They lose to Tennessee on Saturday. But it's just frustrating. Nick Starkel, I would say he's a shell of himself, but he really has not played up to what many thought he would. And we're going to get into that a little down the show, down the road, when we compare Nick Starkel, Benton Hicks, and then people are going to start getting at KJ Jefferson, John Stephen Jones. We're going to get into that a little more as well. But I think people are most frustrated with, and correct me if I'm wrong, text or call in 877-377-6963, is the fact that the offense, outside of really that one drive, looked pedestrian at best. I don't even know if you can call them pedestrian. They had a bye week to prepare. It's not like Kentucky has this massive rushing and passing defense. They've given up some significant amount of yards to both South Carolina and Mississippi State. And yet, you couldn't do anything, really. I mean, mid-20, like, that's not going to get it done. And I think you're just frustrated right now. I think you're just frustrated at the fact that this offense did not do anything. They were not up to snuff. And I think you have a right to be. Because especially coming off a bye week, there should have been better for that. And then on the defensive side of the ball, when you knew from when they announced the starting quarterback that Lynn Bowden was not a threat at passing the ball, and you saw during the game, he really wasn't. I just don't know how they give up that many rushing yards. 330 rushing yards. He goes for 196 and 2 touchdowns rushing the football. So I don't understand how you don't do better on both sides of the football in terms of preparation, knowing the personnel that you have and that Kentucky has as well. All right, let's get to our first call of the day. 877-377-6963 is the Cherokee Casino hotline. Lisa is from Northeast Arkansas calling in. Lisa, what's on your mind today?
Well, thank you for taking my call. First of all, you know I'm not a happy camper. Very upset. But let me tell you some news after speaking with the BOT and a few more people that's what is planned for Saturday, and I was on the fence whether or not to come or not. So I think I'm going to keep my $400 and some odd dollars worth of tickets and stay home. Do you know, and I'm just going to say it plain, that if I were Yurachek, Verity, I would meet with the coach today, that there is a pretty good chance that there will be hog poop, I'll say it nice, thrown at the coach. It's not going to be a pretty thing for little kids and people in wheelchairs because they're probably going to catch some of it. And I'm not trying to be funny. I mean, I'm being serious as a heart attack. The people that told me this, I believe. And I'm staying home. I haven't missed a game in a while, but I'm going to watch this one on TV. And I very seriously, because there's no way you can police something like this. You can bring down the Canadian Mounted Police.
Hey, Lisa, we got to get to a break. I'm sorry. Stay holding. We will get to more of your thoughts on the other side of the break. 877-377-6963.
More halftime in just a moment. This is the Morning Rush.
It's just amazing that when Eric Musselman is in front of the media or in front of the fans, and now we got to see what he's like, seeing him in that coach's role, to see how vocal he was, to see how detail-oriented he seemed to be with just the small things, like, for instance, calling a timeout because his team wasn't lined up correctly on the free throw line. I mean, that's the type of thing that you like to see if you're a Razorback basketball fan.
Don't miss the Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9 only on ESPN 95.3.
Your fence is more than a decoration. It's a reflection of its owner. Choosing a fence company should be done with integrity and quality in mind. The Fence Man has been providing fencing and security solutions for over 40 years. An in-house custom iron and gate department, plus an access control department. The Fence Man offers services other companies aren't equipped to do. The Fence Man, fencing and security solutions to protect what matters most. 479-782-3936 or online at thefencemancompany.com, a division of Quantum Property Services.
Hi, I'm Kelly Smith, owner of Dixie Digital Imaging, the Xerox authorized agency and dealer in the River Valley. The 29 new models of Xerox business printers and copiers represent a quantum leap forward in office technology. They are designed for the way we work today, safely and securely. They're powered by Xerox Connect Key technology. They're innovative and affordable with both black and white and color devices available. For more information, give Dixie Digital a call at 783-6600 or visit us at dixiedigital.com. Dixie Digital Imaging, bringing Xerox document innovations to the River Valley.
We did it again. Evans Body Shop has been voted the best independent collision repair shop in the River Valley for the second year in a row. None of it would have been possible without our top-notch crew and our customers, friends, and family that take their time to vote for us. We would like to say thank you. We are humbled by the continued loyalty and support from our community and staff and will continue to go above and beyond every day. Evans Body Shop, 412 Gordon Avenue, Van Buren. Come by today and see why we say
Evans Body Shop, where we meet the nicest people by accident.
Right now, you can save up to $5,000 off on select in-ground pools at Burton Pools and Spas. Hi, Tommy Kraft here. Now is the perfect time to start planning your own backyard oasis for next summer, so you can relax and enjoy the lazy days poolside next year with family and friends. It's the perfect way to unwind after work or do a staycation. And don't make that long trip this next summer. Vacation in your own backyard. Burton Pools and Spas also has luxury spas, grills, and patio furniture that will complete your outdoor living space. So don't wait. Right now is the time. Save up to $5,000 on select in-ground pools, including saltwater models. It's all at Burton Pools and Spas. This special deal is first come, first served. Stop in their store in Fort Smith and in Springdale for all the details. Fall is the perfect time to start working on your in-ground pool with Burton Pools and Spas in Fort Smith and in Springdale, and online at burtonpools.com. Burton Pools and Spas, your source for backyard fun.
Arrow Bolt and Screw is Fort Smith's distributor of bolts, screws, fasteners, anchors, and much, much more. They have a wide variety of stainless steel inventory and metric fasteners. This family-owned and operated business takes great pride in providing their valued clients with high-quality products at low, affordable prices. Arrow Bolt and Screw can be found at 5424 Wheeler Avenue in Fort Smith. That's Arrow Bolt and Screw. Call 646-0540. That's 646-0540. Arrow Bolt and Screw.
Locally owned Lumber One can handle all of your building needs. They've built their business on having great relationships with everybody from contractors and builders to the everyday build-it-yourself. Lumber One is a full-line door shop to handle all of your door, window, and trim needs. And along with lumber, roofing and drywall products, attic wall and floor insulation is available. Lumber One also does blueprint takeoff with access to design services with estimates available. So go where the pros go. Lumber One, located on Industrial Park Road in Van Buren.
ESPN 95.3. Halftime is brought to you by Coors Light, made to chill. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Jones looking, steps, throws to the end zone. Touchdown, Arkansas! Unbelievable!
The weather's getting a little colder, and that means it's great time for camping season, and there is only one place that you should go when you think about that, and that's Breeden RV. Breeden RV in Van Buren has their end-of-the-year clearance sale right now. Great deals on all new RVs, travel sailors starting at $99.95, and fifth wheels starting under $30,000. Breeden RV is the only dealer that gives new customers maintenance for life for free. Again, everyone, maintenance for life for free. Breeden RV also has a great selection of pre-camp trailers and RVs to choose from. And now it's the perfect time to camp. So let Breeden RV in Van Buren show you how easy it is to be home of maintenance for life. Let's go back to the phone lines. Lisa, we'll give you about a minute left to wrap what you're thinking up. So back to you real quick before we get on with the segment.
Okay, I'll be real quick. Anyway, that's the deal. They're going to throw hog poop at the coach. And I've heard they might even tackle him. And when the bus pulls up and the band starts playing, the people are going to start at 55 and count backwards to 1 second. 55, 54, 53, 52, 51, and so forth. I'm not going. I'm staying home because if I was there, you know me by now, Ty, I'd probably throwing hog poo-poo too. So to keep myself out of jail, I'm staying home. But I'm going to hang up and listen and see what you think. It's sad that this is the way we have to get people's attention up there. I'm not really for it, but I ain't against it. So I'm hanging up and I'll listen.
I think using feces to voice your opinion on anything is typically not the way to do it. That's just me. That's just my opinion on that. Got a couple texts in on the Cherokee Casino hotline. Drew in Northwest Arkansas is saying Nick Scalzo is the only other QB that they lost, and he's talking about Kentucky-wise. Who else? Talking about Robbie. Text in transfer portals, decommits. The only thing missing is our donors pulling the plug. Love to hear the athletic directors speak up, and he made the comments following San Jose State and Texas A&M game. So Robbie is wanting Hunter Yurachek to voice his opinion. Got a text out of the 479 AC in Fort Smith, I believe it is, saying bogus. So what Lisa was saying. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen either, AC. I'd be very surprised if that actually did. A lot of people they talk the talk, but they don't necessarily walk the walk. Their bark's a lot worse than their bite. I mean, Matt, do you see that happening?
I don't know, something about it. I kind of believe her. You know, she called in this morning and said that she frequently will sit outside of their offices for 6+ hours just to have the opportunity to share her mind with some of the higher ups there.
I don't know about the feces portion of it, though. We'll see on that. Doug in Mountain Home texted in. He said the wheels are falling off. Players are decommitting and players are transferring. A change is coming. We're going to get to more of the news. There is some good news on the horizon, not necessarily for Arkansas football, but there is some good Arkansas news. Got a lot of it that we got to share today. Aaron in Clarksville says, harden your hearts, Razorback fans. We will approach the most consecutive SEC losses early next year. Firing Chad Morris, if we do not get an SEC win this season, does not throw gas on a dumpster fire or does not stop the bleeding. Another coach does not mean we start winning. But does Morris have what it takes? What do we do? That's a great question, Aaron. I don't know. I don't know what you're supposed to do in this situation. But since we're bringing up Chad Morris, we're bringing up coaches, Kyle Declenbaum down there in Little Rock for KATV put up a great chart comparing Chad Morris and Brett Bielema through 18 games. And if you look at it, Brett Bielema through 18 games was 6-12, 0-11 in the SEC, similar to Chad Morris. Chad 4-14, and then also 0-11 in the ACC. As far as the points per game go, 26.8 points per game for Brett Bielema, only 23.5 for Chad Morris. Brett's squads were allowing 28.4 points per game, while Chad Morris's squads are allowing 32.3. The differential, minus 8.8 for Chad Morris, minus 1.6 for Brett Bielema. So if you look at the phrases that are being tossed around, if you hear what's being tossed around for Arkansas right now, Eddie Clarksville texted me yesterday, and he called the program mediocre. He said the athletic department is sleeping with mediocrity and stuff. And you can't even call this program mediocre right now. The best characterization the last few years of any coach that was mediocre at times was Houston Nutt. And I think most people listening would agree that Houston Nutt's teams were mediocre at times, and the football teams. And it was irritating because you thought there was more talent on the roster than what they ultimately did during the season. That's mediocre. This team just sucks right now. And I'm not saying they can't get a little better down the road, but I'm not trying to pull or throw punches or anything to what's the phrase, Matt? Throwing stones through glass houses? That's the phrase.
I think that's
right?
one of the sayings, yeah.
Okay.
You're not trying to speak out of school here.
I just can't tell you that they're good at football because it'd be a lie against God and everything I know that's true and dear. If you look back to Brett Bielema's years in that first about year and a half, because that's what we're trying to compare with Chad Morris, Brett Bielema right now. Brett Bielema had close losses, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, and LSU in his second year before they got those wins against LSU and Ole Miss. He had close losses to both Bama and Mississippi State, and you had 13 straight SEC losses. So, need I remind you, this stat is unfortunately could be the death sentence down the road. I'm not saying it is right now, but down the road. Chad Morris is yet to have a Power 5 win. as a head coach. Let me reiterate that. Chad Morris has yet to have a Power 5 win as a head football coach. Both not just at Arkansas. It'd be one thing if it was just at Arkansas. You'd be frustrated still, but it's both at Arkansas and SMU. Now, I know he didn't get a lot of cracks at Power 5 teams when he's playing the American Athletic, but it's just a statistic. It's just a statistic. TJ gets at us on the Facebook live stream. He says the only SEC game that we could possibly win this year is Mississippi State, period. Mississippi State doesn't look good. They lost to Tennessee. I think the final score of that game was 20-10. What a gross football game. Tennessee and Mississippi State. We got a lot of text in on the Cherokee Casino hotline. Brett's happy from his Red River rivalry this weekend. Boomer, it's a good day to be a Sooner. I'm sad to say, Brett, that Arkansas fans listening to the program are not as happy as you are. I will say Jalen Hurts didn't look great in that football game. So I don't know if you should be worried, but the defense was up to snuff, and by up to snuff, better than it's looked under the tenure of Lincoln Riley. My goodness gracious, they look good. Alex Greenwich, he might be the missing link to get them a national championship. Titus in Witcherville says, Hogs are in first place, 11-0 in Razorback hockey. It's a big content guy thing. So I guess, Matt, we can be happy about Razorback hockey.
I think he was being sarcastic.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah, I figured as well.
I'm pretty good at picking up on that.
Adam in Fort Smith says, I thought the quarterback change was made a little too late in Saturday night versus Kentucky. If I'm not mistaken, they put Ben Hicks after 2 3-and-outs in the third quarter. I think you're correct on that, Adam. I know it was 2 drives. I think it was 2 3-and-outs. By then, the defense was getting gassed. I was hoping Hicks would come in for a first drive in the second half. I'm kind of with you on that. I'm not always in favor of flipping the quarterback situation at half, but I think in this situation, the way Starkel performed, he wasn't himself. He really hasn't. I don't even know if calling it is himself is the correct thing to say in this situation, because he just really hasn't lived up to the hype that many thought he would. And maybe that's partially our fault. Maybe it's partially some of the fans' fault, because, again, this guy at one point preseason was compared to Ryan Mallett, and even slightly during the season. And I just kept pushing that narrative right back in people's faces. I said, don't do this. You're going to regret it. He's not that guy. He had one SEC win at Texas A&M. Just telling you, Ryan Mallett is a heck of a lot better quarterback than Nick Starkel. All right, I was wondering when this a phone call was going to come up. Again, Eddie texted me yesterday actually it was 2 texts yesterday, and when Eddie's texts, I'm talking these things are paragraph upon paragraph long. Eddie, we don't have too much longer a break, so we got about 1 minute and 30 seconds, man. Can you get it done in 1:30?
Yes, sir. Hey, listen. First of all, this is about the integrity of a program. Let me say this. I've been a Hall fan for over 4 decades. I've said that many times. Probably traveled almost 2 million miles in that time. And I'll be a fan and when I go, I want them to say on my grave, I was a Hall fan. I want to say this. Mediocrity can only exist in a program if it's allowed to exist. And it's come in our back door, and it's made a home. Coach Moore, sir, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I was wrong this morning. It wasn't a third-string quarterback that beat us at Kentucky. It was a first-string quarterback.
Correct.
Thank you for taking my call.
Eddie, appreciate it, man. Yeah, just to stress that again, just like Eddie did. People thought it was a third string. They lost a quarterback, and I know that we just had a texter texting who it was. I got to find that real quick. But, yeah, Nick Scalzo is what Drew in Northwest Arkansas said. I'm taking it at his word. So, yeah, the fact that you lost to a fourth-string quarterback who did not start the season at QB, played in high school, but was playing wide receiver this year, it's just, is pathetic the right word, y'all? Is that too high end of a word? Is that too extreme to say that loss was pathetic on Saturday night? I know the emotions of Jared Lorenzen Day, it being a night home game, obviously, and just everything that went into that, but it was their fourth-string guy. It was the guy that I think had one possession starting full, and I'm not, let's just be clear about that. He played one full possession at quarterback at South Carolina, I think, and that was the one drive they scored last week. So it's not like this guy has a ton of SEC experience. Doesn't make any sense. Halftime is brought to you in part by the Fence Man. Do you need or own a business that needs more security or more curb appeal? Call the Fence Man. They can do both. The Fenceman specializes in special custom installations, and they've been doing it over 40 years. Gates, controlled access card readers. Call the Fenceman for a no-obligations quote. Give Henry a call, 479-782-3936. The Fenceman, 782-3936. A division of Quantum Property Services. Is Arkansas truly one of the worst teams in Power 5? Or is that just a statement we're throwing out there? That's next on Halftime. ESPN Arkansas, hitthatline.com.
Missed a segment or interview? Check out the Halftime Pod at hitthatline.com.
You always get more at Orr.
We always put the customer first at Orr Chevrolet in Fort Smith. Since 1924, the Orr family of dealerships has grown based on one simple principle. Give the customer more money for their trades and give them a lower price on their new vehicle. It's a simple concept, really, but one that very few dealers honor anymore. Hey, we know you paid a lot of money for your vehicle, and Orr Chevrolet wants to pay you the maximum amount for it today. Then we'll give you an awesome price on a new Chevrolet. But we're not done giving you more. Included with any new vehicle sold. Orr Chevy will also give you a lifetime powertrain warranty, 2 years of free maintenance, and free car washes for life. So come get a lower price and more money for your trade today at Orr Chevrolet on Auto Park Drive in Fort Smith and 24/7 at OrChevyFS.com. Chevy, find new roads.
You always get more at Orr.
Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative is excited to introduce Wave Rural Connect, bringing state-of-the-art fiber internet, TV, and phone services right into the homes of all their members. Get amazing fast fiber internet 100 megabits for only $49.95 per month, or 1 gigabit for $79.95 per month. Go to waveruralconnect.com to find out where they're installing in your area, or call 1-833-4WAVE-RC. Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
Barley is the soul of Budweiser. That's why we've been working with the same family-owned American farms for more than 50 years to harvest it. The secrets to growing this grain perfectly have been passed down through 3 generations. For them, it's a legacy. And it's why only the best barley and locally sourced ingredients are used to make Budweiser. Budweiser is proudly raised across America. This Bud's from our barley farmers. This Bud's for you. Enjoy responsibly. Budweiser Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
I'm Lisa Hinton, owner of Champ Hinton Enterprises. For nearly 50 years, the Champ Hinton name has stood for one thing: selling quality cars in a different way, taking the mumbo jumbo out of the process and making customers happy. All these years and tens of thousands of cars later, we're still here, doing business the way Champ Hinton taught us, selling to generations of families who've become part of our family. Champ Hinton Enterprises, the area's premier used car dealer. Take the Arcoma exit off I-540 or go online at champhinton.com.
At Chambers Bank, our Arkansas roots grow deep, and you can trust us as your partner for every banking need. From a simple checking account to your first home loan, whatever you need, big or small, we are here for you. With 18 convenient branches throughout the state and a full suite of online banking options, we will always be available when you need us. Family owned in Arkansas since 1930, Chambers is your full-service community bank. Bank with trust at Chambers Bank. Member FDIC, equal housing lender, NMLS 631520.
ESPN 95.3. Touchdown! Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, who supports local teams. Supercuts. We're super into the movement.
Yeah, they got it going on.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Adams with it at the 45. Adams skipping. Adams gets outside. Watch out. Hits the sideline. To Jet. Touchdown, Arkansas.
877-377-6963. Matty T and me, Ty Richardson, in here for halftime. The next 3 days doing it duo. Phil Elson's going to be gone with the kiddos in Canada. So, again, me and Matty T will be holding you guys down in the fort for the next 3 days. Getting a lot of interaction in both the Cherokee Casino hotline and our social media. Let's go back to the live stream comments. Ryan says Oklahoma, they can show that they can finally play defense. Yeah, Ryan, they look pretty good against that win against Texas. Sam Ehlinger was under pressure. I think 9 sacks was the total that the Sooners ended with. So, yeah, Greenwich got something going on. Tommy says, concerning the Arkansas coaching situation, says if Frank Broyles was there, they would have a new coach. You know what, Tommy? I tend to agree with you. Now, we got to remember, he didn't always make the right decision when it came to hiring and firing coaches. Now, I know that Frank is known for a lot more good than he did than bad, and it's true because he helped Arkansas a lot more than he hurt Arkansas, but this was not a guy that necessarily walked on water when it came to coaching, hiring, and fines. Let's just kind of put that in perspective. But I will say, 9 times out of 10, he did a really good job. Back to the Cherokee Casino hotline. David in Harrison asked, if Coach Morris were to get fired midseason, who would take over? Would that actually change anything? Maybe that's a good question. I think when you look at hiring and firing coaches like midseason, typically it doesn't turn out good in terms of the rest of the season. Now, sometimes the team gets together and groups together and fights a little bit. That doesn't necessarily mean they end on a 6-game winning streak, and this team's certainly not going to end on a 6-game winning streak, but that would be a question for a later date because I don't think he's going to get fired midseason.
So if that was a bet at the Cherokee Casino, what do you think the odds would be on that?
That's a good question. So they would have to lose to Western Kentucky for something like that to happen, right? Or just get absolutely obliterated by an SEC opponent that they should. Let's say Mississippi State came in here and just pulverized Arkansas. And this is a Mississippi State team that's really not that great. I think there'd be some thinking, but I just don't think it's going to happen, y'all. I think he's going to get another year. They would have to lose, I think, either the rest of the conference games, and they would have to be just some ugly losses, or they'd have to lose to Western Kentucky. That's the only scenario I don't see it happening. But again, Matt, I think he gets another year, and I think he deserves another year. But if year 3, if this stuff's happening, man, not good. Robbie says, we used to get ticked, I can't use the word he said, with 6-6 with Nutt, but we would give anything for Nutt 6-6 right now. Robbie, you're right. I think a lot of people would want Chad Morris to get a raise if they somehow manage to get 4 more wins and end up 6-6. But again, that's not going to happen. Matt in Dallas says, Ty, it's time to fire Craddock and promote Stepp to OC, and Morris coaches QBs. And Chavis can back the Brinkstruck up to Venables, and Chavis. He worded that kind of weird. I guess he voice texted. And bring the Brinkstruck to Venables. If that doesn't work, take a chance that can scheme these modern offenses. It won't make too much changes than time for Morris to go 2-2. That was kind of a complex way that he wrote that out. Look, I think based on some of the stuff we heard, they already took a swing at Venables, didn't they? Right? I mean, that's kind of what we heard when Chad Morris was initially hired, that there were some links to Brent Venables out there in Clemson. I think he likes Clemson better. There's more recruiting talent out there in North Carolina, Atlanta, all that. It's a more fertile recruiting ground. It's got more recent tradition. I'm not leaving Clemson if I'm Brent Venables, regardless if they pay me $250,000 more or not. I'm not leaving Clemson. That seems like the program to be at right now. B in Clarksville said, I had some chili this weekend that made my tongue jump out of your head. Love the show, Ty. Appreciate it, B in Clarksville. Brett from Spyro says, back to the Oklahoma and Texas conversation, he says, not worried about Jalen. I think he's hard enough worker and takes it seriously. Yeah, he didn't look spectacular against the Texas Longhorns. But again, Texas was very pumped up for that game. Jalen Rowland's got an off-the-wall ID. He says, I say we hire Alex Greenidge as our new head coach. Dude is a genius. That's Chandler, I think you're off base on that, bud. It's a guy that's never been a head coach at Power 5.
You wouldn't put him on genius level?
Yeah, I don't know if... I mean, he looked good at Washington State under Leach, and that's hard to do considering the spread offense doesn't necessarily correlate with good defense. Looked good at Ohio State, and now has looked really good at Oklahoma, but small sample size. You don't know anything really about his offensive mind or anything, and Chad Morris is still your head coach. Josh in Fort Smith says, Chad probably doesn't get fired, but all his coordinators do. What do you think? I don't know how you can get through this season without firing some of your staff. Point blank. Like, how can you not get through this season without... Now, I don't know if they'll fire him mid-season or during the season or stuff, but you can't get through this season the way it's transpired so far and not let go or make a change to some of your staff. Because it's not just one side of the football. It'd be one thing, y'all, if the offense was putting up video game type numbers, the numbers that you saw Chad Morris do at both Clemson and his last year at SMU. But the offense hadn't looked great, and the defense hadn't looked great. And I'll give more of the blame to the offense because the defense has been on the field so much, and that's partial to the offense ineptness and just not getting it done on that side of the football. So I think more of the blame, even though a lot more people like to blame defense than offense, I'm going to give more of the blame to the offense and the offensive side of the staff. Tom in Fort Worth said, has Hunter Yurachek said what his expectations for the football program are publicly? There's no possible way to defend the coaching staff at this point. I don't know what he, referring to Hunter Yurachek, could say to give the fans hope, but it would certainly make me feel better about the direction of the program if he could address the current state and its path forward. Well, he's talked about several times his confidence in Chad Morris, what he thinks about him as a football coach, and where he thinks the program's going to project. It just hasn't to this point. And I don't know if it will. I can't confidently sit here and tell you it will because nothing to this point has led me to believe that that's going to happen. All right, back to the Cherokee Casino hotline, 877-377-6963. Robert is in Fort Smith. Robert, heard your call a little this morning. What you got for me this afternoon, man?
You know, you fire all the coordinators. I get it if that's what needs to happen. But then, you know, he's the one making all the calls. And he's the one that's running the ship, you know, Morris is, and it's just not getting done, and I don't blame all the coordinators. Yeah, Chavis is old. He may be out past, but Craddock, we don't know enough about him. We know some, but he was an SMU guy with him. But I just, you know, I'm just kind of like, why? You fire them all, great, but then if they don't do nothing, you know, what will that accomplish if he doesn't get anybody worth anything in there? Because who would want to work for a coach who's only won 2 games, and then who would also, we're having decommitments, what y'all talking about? We're losing commitments now because they keep losing. So I'll listen to y'all.
Robert, thanks for the call, man. So as far as coaches that potentially would want to work for Chad Morris if something happened with either Chavis, Craddock, or one of the other assistants this year, that's similar to what he would sell recruits on. I think he would try and sell coaches on as well. Now, I don't know if that would work. I don't know the philosophy. I don't know the same the same conversation he would have with these guys, how different or how similar that would be to what he's used as recruits. But we know the guy that can recruit. I mean, that's shown by what he was able to bring in based off a 2-10 football season last year. So I don't know if that would just inch over to when it comes to hiring or firing coaches, when it comes to that sort of thing. It's a good thought. I think when it comes to what the offenses look like, let's stick with offense here because I don't think he has much, if anything, to do with defense. We just don't know if he's truly the one calling the plays of Craddock because he says he's more involved than he ever has been before. We're not listening to the headset. We're not listening to what's going on. We're not in practice. We're not seeing how much power he's wielding when it comes to that. Look at what Gus Malzahn and what's transpiring out there at Auburn, Alabama. He just said, I'm calling the plays. I'm going to either get fired or I'm going to call the plays and bet on myself. So I'm wondering at what point in time where he's just like, I'm going to be the OC. Period. If I'm going to get fired, it's going to be by my terms. That's what I'm kind of looking at like that. John Dickens Jr. says on our Facebook live stream, he says, if we lose to Western Kentucky, he should be fired on the spot. Western Kentucky and Ty Story got a win against Army this week. And Porter brought up a good point, texting in the Cherokee Casino hotline. Ty Story now has more Power 5 wins than Chad Morris. So Jeff Epps says that we should have hired Mike Norvell instead of Morris. Memphis lost to Temple this weekend. They looked a lot better under Justin Fuente, I think, than they did in Memphis. I know Memphis beat Ole Miss earlier this year, but Norvell's not just some world beat. He's not just the most incredible coach in college football. He's missed some games. He's messed up some stuff. Now, it's one thing to be coaching in the American Athletic and compared to the SEC. So just always remember that when you're trying to compare coaches. And I would be very surprised after fans seeing what looks to be a swing and a miss on a lower tier guy, and I'm referring to the conference, the American Athletic, where Chad Morris was at SMU. They'd want to take another shot at the American Athletic. All right, more halftime coming up next, 877-377-6963. More of your calls coming up next.
Missed a segment or interview? Check out the Halftime Pod at hitthatline.com.
full-time farmers, hobby farmers, and landowners, your time is important. Make the most out of that time with a brand new Branson tractor from Bush Machine and Tractor in Fort Smith. With tractors from 19 to 105 horsepower, we have a tractor that will fit your needs. Ask Bush Machine and Tractor about their special financing options and free loader rebates. Bush Machine and Tractor in Fort Smith is Arkansas's #1 Branson dealer. Check their inventory at bushtractor.com. Is your home at least 10 years old and served by OG&E? OG&E is offering Arkansas customers a free weatherization program to increase your comfort and lower your bills. A trained crew will perform an energy audit at no cost to you, and if your home qualifies, our crews will install measures that will save you money. The services provided through this program are absolutely free to qualifying homes. If you could benefit from free home weatherization improvements, call OG&E at 1-800-272-9741. That's 1-800-272-9741.
Supercuts of Arkansas is raising breast cancer awareness and donating to Bright Pink. Bright Pink is the only nonprofit organization that focuses on prevention and early detection of breast and ovarian cancer. Join the fight, breast cancer awareness. Donating to Bright Pink, the only nonprofit organization. Supercuts help them reach their goal of $10,000. Supercuts is conveniently located and serving its community 7 days a week. Supercuts, they're super into the movement. Supercuts, fresh, clean, sharp.
Hi folks, Larry Rath here for Rath Auto Resources. Fall is my favorite time of the year. Football, fine weather, and my chance to flip the lot. We're out to sell every single car in our Rath Road Ready inventory and flip the lot during our fall clearance. That's right, every vehicle must go. To make it happen, we're discounting our entire inventory with savings up to $4,300 below retail. Even our special purchase vehicles are included, like 2018 Hyundai Elantra SELs for only $13,991. If you're keeping the car you have, let us take care of it for you in our Meineke Car Care Center with buy 3, get 1 free on all tires and 50% off brake pads. Don't miss out on the savings. Help us flip the lot. Get the Rath Road Ready vehicle that's perfect for you and save up to $4,300 during the fall clearance at Arkansas's #1 rated and reviewed independent dealer, Rath Auto Resources, and the Meineke Car Care Center. 4515 Towson Avenue, Fort Smith, or online at rathauto.com.
Requires bank approval. Vehicle purchase price affects trade allowance.
Hey dads, do you have an athlete in your house that is looking to take their skills to the next level? Excel Speed Training at the Fort Smith Athletic Club has the proven results to maximize your athlete's potential. Designed for both male and female athletes of all ages and various sports to improve mobility, endurance, agility, and vertical jump. Take your game to the next level with Excel Speed Training. Call Mike Johnson at 479-926-0193. That's Mike at 479-926-0193 at the Fort Smith Athletic Club.
True Grit Running Company is where perseverance meets passion. Whether you're training for your next marathon or just comfortable shoes to keep up with your kids, we have the gear to help you reach your goals. With our slow motion gait analysis and our extensive product knowledge, we have the right pair of shoes for you. We also carry apparel, nutrition, hydration accessories, injury prevention gear, and recovery products. We offer classes, workshops, and group runs. Lace up, show up, and get your grit on. True Grit Running Company, 6808 Rogers Avenue, Suite B, behind Chick-fil-A.
This time of year is hectic, and we know you have things to do and places to be. Southern Tire Mart can help you get there and save you money on America's most trusted brands like Michelin and BF Goodrich. Take advantage of our $29.95 oil change, which includes a 27-point vehicle inspection. Come see us at Southern Tire Mart just off I-540 at exit 14 in Fort Smith today for quality Michelin and BF Goodrich tires and the best-in-class service. Get where you need to be with Michelin, BF Goodrich, and Southern Tire Mart.
ESPN 95.3. Halftime is brought to you by Coors Light, made to chill. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Lou Holtz, Mark May, number 5. You better look at him a little closer. He's a football player. Got that wood right here.
Back on Halftime, ESPN Arkansas, hitthatline.com. Matty T and me, Ty Richardson. Phil Elson gone.
That's from Friends.
The Friends. That is. As Phil Elson's going to be back here on Thursday with us, so Matty T not kind enough to fill in these next couple days. The conversation I teased before the last break that we're going to get to now was, where does Arkansas rank among the worst teams in Power 5? And that's a conversation most of you listening to the program right now would never think that they would be in the same breath as Rutgers, who's 1-5 in the Big Ten, Illinois, who's 2-4 in the Big Ten, Vandy, who's 1-5, that got beat at home, I think, by UNLV this weekend. Georgia Tech, 1-5 in the ACT. Oregon State, 2-4 in the Pac-12. This is a program that once had the President of the United States here to see the game of the century, 1969 versus the Texas Longhorns. And now you're in the same conversation as one of the worst teams in the Power 5. Ty Storey has more Power 5 wins than Chad Morris, a stat that Porter brought up. They beat Army this weekend. Now I'm wondering, does Western Kentucky have a shot to come in? You know, emotions are going to be riding high with Ty Storey coming into that football game. Arkansas now has lost 14 straight SEC games. It's the 13th longest streak in conference history, according to Andrew Hutchinson. Good stat that he pulled up. When Eddie in Clarksville just got on the phone last segment and then texted me yesterday about where this program is right now, he used the term mediocrity. And I don't even think that's correct. This program right now is not even mediocre. Now, you could say under Brett Bielema at some points it was mediocre. The same can be said about Houston Nutt. But this team is just a dumpster fire right now.
You have to win games to be mediocre.
Yeah, you have to be 6-6, 5-7, 7-5, like around there where you're like relevant but not relevant. But the team isn't even mediocre right now, which is just bad. Devin in Boonville says, this is switching up the conversation, is the 2020 in-state basketball mascot this week the number one player of the state. So Devontae Davis, I think, is 79 on ESPN, if that's correct. I want to say that he is above both Jalen Williams and Chris Moore, because you got to remember KK Robinson's at Oak Hill and Moses Moody is at Monteverde Academy. So I believe that is correct, Devin. Don't hold me to that, but I think that's correct. AC and Fort Smith text in, Morris is a Jerry Jones hire. He isn't going anywhere. I don't think he's going anywhere either, unless, like I said, they lose every single game the rest of the season. Well, there's a chance of that. I'm talking about right now, mid-season. That's what I'm thinking. Doug in Mountain Home text in, would give anything for Houston Nutt type teams. He had a 75-48 record. I mean, I think a lot of people are with you, Doug. I think a lot of people would love to see Houston Nutt's level of success right now, especially based on these last 2 years. Text out of the 479, do you have any stats on the staffing changes that Chad Morris has ever made as head coach? Does he historically change once he hires an assistant? Seems like the majority of his staff, with the exception of Chavis, has been there with him since Clemson. So offensively, he brought a lot of his guys, if not all of his guys, over from SMU. I know defensively, he didn't bring any / very few of his guys. Offensively, he stuck with most of his guys. Defensively, not so much, because I think he realized that he needed more to compete with in the SEC. Unfortunately, that hasn't been the case with John Chavis' squad. And again, I blame the offense a lot more than I blame the defense and John Chavis, because the idea of Chad Morris coming in was the offense was going to be explosive. He was going to be innovative. They were going to have a number of different schemes and be able to score on SEC defenses, and that hasn't been the case to this point. Chad Morris is staring down 2 years without a Power 5 win and no Power 5 wins as a head coach. Justin Van Buren's texting. Yeah, Mississippi State, there's potential there for a win. They have not looked good so far this season. I think maybe Missouri, even though that's Missouri's bowl game, and I don't think the NCAA has changed the ruling on if they can go to a bowl or not. So I think potentially Missouri, but outside of that, I mean, SEC-wise, you're not being LSU, you're not being Auburn, you've been Alabama. So good luck. Am I forgetting one? I'm trying to think. I think that's the rest of the way. Pull up the schedule real quick. Arkansas, yeah, that's it. So ain't beating those teams. Ain't beating those teams at all. Robbie has called in. Robbie is in San Diego at the moment. I'm glad that Matty T put your location on here, Robbie, because I know you're traveling a lot. Robbie, what you got to say today, man, here on Halftime?
What's going on, brother? Hey, I want to just point something out really quick. You know, Craddock's been with Morris since he was a GA at Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
And the deadly thing for Chad is going to be if he ties himself to Craddock, and if he doesn't want to make a change, then he's going to find himself going down with him. Bottom line is that, you know, he was able to, coach up really high-level talent at Clemson. But what he's proven at SMU and he's proven at Arkansas is he hasn't quite been able to coach up guys that maybe need a little more development and a little more coaching. I mean, he had Hicks in the system at SMU for several years, comes to Arkansas, and he looks lost. And he's had moments.
You think Hicks looks lost, Robbie?
Well, I thought Hicks looked a little lost at the beginning of the season. I think he's kind of coming into his own, and thank God we have him because Starkel looks like he is completely out of his depth. And I don't know if that's coaching or if somebody's gotten into his head, but he doesn't look like he's cutting it loose like he did at the beginning of the season. It looks like he's they're pointing out, hey, Nick, don't turn it over. You got 7 interceptions. We need you to manage the game. You can't. It's like getting into a pitcher's head, man. Let him just throw the ball. Let him do what he does because, when you take away his tools, then you take away his greatest asset, and that's his ability to freaking fire that football down the field because he looked like he was trying to protect the ball too much and may make the conservative throw. And that's not what we're supposed to do. Bottom line is Morris is an offensive coach, and he's averaging less points than Brett Bielema did. The fact he's 18-36 overall as a head coach, he's a loser head coach. Loser not as like in a personality or character, but the pure fact is he has more losses than wins. And, we made a mistake by hiring a coach who did not have a winning record, did not have a proven track record as a head coach. We have a coordinator acting like a head coach. That we just can't do that again. We've got to be able to find somebody, whether it's this year, next year, the following year, whenever the board trustee decides to get rid of Morris, it's going to happen. We've got to go find a proven Power 5 head coach. Stop with the, who's the next, XYZ, who's the next Gus Malzahn, who's the, next great young coach. Get somebody proven, get him into Fayetteville, energize the fan base. That way we can, move our program forward so we're winning 7-8 games a year. And asking to win 12 a year. 7-8 games, get us to a bowl game. That's going to keep everybody happy.
Robbie, thanks for the call, man. We really appreciate it. So I'll play devil's advocate for you a sec. That was Brett Bielema. What you just laid out was Brett Bielema. And that didn't work out either, unfortunately. Let's go to John in Harrison. John, you're on halftime, man. What's going on this afternoon?
Appreciate you taking my call. I guess my frustration, and I think most Razorback fans' frustration, is you're saying, hey, look at all these Power 5 teams. We're the worst of the worst. We're the Rutgers. We're the Georgia Techs. I agree with that 100%. And the difference is we spend way more money and we have way nicer facilities than any of those programs. There is no excuse for what the product that we see on the field. There's absolutely no excuse.
Yeah, John. I mean, I'll counter you a little bit. So those programs that I listed out, I'll go back and list them out real quick for those who. You're in the same conversation as Rutgers, Illinois, Vanderbilt, Georgia Tech, Oregon State. The one thing that I'll say is they're not playing the SEC. They're not playing against the juggernauts. They're not playing against the Sabins. They're not playing against the smarts, the big dogs. They're not having to compete at the same level. But to your point, John, you have to have the same level of coach, the same level, maybe not the exact same level of talent, but talent enough where you can compete. And it's tough. I'm not going to sit here and say it's easy because it's not. The SEC is maybe as difficult as it's ever been, especially in the SEC West, which coincidentally happens to be the division Arkansas participates in. Chad Paris says the situation is a lot like Mike Anderson's. He can either make a wholesale staff changes throughout the staff or do what we have to do. Of course, the crazy buyout that have a coach with a losing record is going to present a problem. Chad, not just you, but for those out there, has anyone heard anything on Brett Bielema's buyout? Last I heard in March that they had stopped payments on it. I think the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette had put out something that Scott Verity and the Razorback Foundation had stopped payment on it. I think they were kind of doing that because, now I'm not 100% on this, because of it didn't seem like Brett Bielema was actively searching for a head coaching job. I haven't seen anything relating to that, but unless it's still stopped, you still owe Bielema money, right? And then you'll owe, I don't know, I don't have the figures of Chad Morris's contract buyout in front of me at the moment, but you would owe his. And when are you going to get to a point where the money's just too much and you just have to gut it out? I don't know. And again, I don't think, I'm going to have to stress this several times during the show because I know we have a bunch of people saying that Chad Morris should be fired now, that I don't think he deserves to be fired until I'll make a statement at the end of the season. And again, Phil and I have discussed several times, we're not going to actively call for a coach to be fired. That's not our job. Now, if someone wants to call in here and say that, go right ahead. I'm not going to stop you. I'm not going to prevent you. I'm not going to be like other people saying that's not right. I'm going to let you voice your opinion. I just don't know if I'm actively going to come out on air and say this guy, or this guy needs to be fired. So, man, we have a lot of texts, a lot of calls today. 877-377-6963 is our number to call or text in on the Cherokee Casino hotline. Still got like 7 or 8 texts here that I haven't read. Haven't gotten a lot of our content. A lot of hog news coming up. Good and bad. More good than bad, actually, because we're going to stray away from football for a sec. That's all coming up on halftime. ESPN Arkansas. HitThatLine.com.
Great camping weather is just around the corner, so at Breeden RV in Van Buren, we're having our year-end clearance sale right now. Get great deals on new RVs like travel trailers that start at $99.95 and fifth wheels starting under $30,000. Breeden RV is the only dealer that gives our new customers maintenance for life for free. We also have a great selection of pre-camp trailers and RVs to choose from. Now is the time to camp, and now is the time to let Breeden RV in Van Buren show you just how easy it can be. Breeden RV, your home for maintenance for life.
Oh, that's an RV.
If you want a compact tractor that's the best value for your dollar, visit Alma Tractor and Equipment in Alma and ask about the Workmaster Series compact tractors from Newhall. They are powered by reliable, clean-running engines and are backed by Boomer Guard 5, the best in-class 5-year limited warranty. Not only are they built tough, they are comfortable to operate and gives you a great view from the roomy, open platform. See a Newhall and Workmaster compact tractor today at Alma Tractor and Equipment in Alma. They're the best value for your dollar.
In this moment, who has your back? Do you know the name of your insurance agent? Does your insurance agent know your name? Or would you call a 1-800 number that connects you with who? Another state? Another country? Get a local independent insurance agent with Auto Owners Insurance. Someone you can call when the bad stuff happens. In this moment, get an agent who will protect you in that moment. Call Kohler and Green Insurance in Fort Smith, 484-9888, or in Van Buren, 474-9888, and online at KohlerGreen.com.
Do you hear that Coors Light being poured? It's the perfect temperature. How can I tell just based on the sound? I can't. But I can see that the mountain on the can is blue. And when the mountain is blue, your Coors Light is perfectly cold. Coors Light is cold lagered for a crisper taste, cold filtered for brightness and clarity, and cold packaged for peak refreshment. Doesn't that sound good? 2019 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Joe's Grilling Cantina is the only place to watch the Hogs. Watch every game at Joe's. Enjoy half-price apps and taps during the game. And with TVs all around the restaurant, you'll have a front row seat. Half-price appetizers like brisket nachos, Mexican pizza, 10-layer dip, or Joe's humongous sampler platter. All half-price. And all beers on tap are half-price. Watch every Hog game at Joe's. Half-price apps and taps during every Hog game at Joe's Grilling Cantina, 3400 South 74th Street across from Harps.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
Our weather overnight, clear, lows 45 to 50. Tomorrow should be nice. We'll get sunshine, our highs in the low to mid 70s. Partly cloudy, maybe a shower tomorrow night, and then we'll get rain and a few thunderstorms likely on Tuesday. Our high in the low 70s, a few showers Wednesday. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
Weather is brought to you by Hertz Car Sales, 2810 Midland Boulevard in Fort Smith. You can call them today at 783-1722 or check them out online at buyfromhertz.com.
Radio station.
KERX, Paris, Fort Smith, from the Bush and Bushlight Studios. This is ESPN 95.3. Touchdown! Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, who supports local teams. Supercuts, we're super into the movement.
Yeah, they got it going on.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Broadcasting live from the Bud Light Studio.
I love Arkansas! I love everything here! Give me that thing here! Woo!
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas?
Dixon Street. It'll get you.
Streaming live from
HitThatLine.com.
You want answers! I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
This is Halftime.
Man, that ball got out of here in a hurry.
With Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Phil, you're one of the best baseball announcers in the country, and Ty, you're one of the best up-and-coming young talents in the broadcasting industry. You really do your homework.
See ya! D-Mac! Hold on, Matt Ryan! D-Mac not looking back. Touchdown! How about that Heisman, Mark Jones? How do you like it? Wide open again.
All right, hold on. It's almost halftime.
Man, y'all are bringing it today. I have about 4 or 5 pages of rundown stuff, and I haven't even gotten to half of it through an hour because we've had so many texts, so many calls. Keep them coming. 877-377-6963. Our halftime poll question, will Arkansas win another game this season? Do you think that's going to happen? Can they find a way to squeak one out against Mississippi State? Beat Western Kentucky or Missouri and Little Rock? Is there a chance they could go 0 for the rest of the way? It's not out of the possibility. It's not out of the realm. Guess time will tell. Let's get to some Hog news. We haven't gotten a chance to do this yet, but there's a lot of news coming out of this weekend. Let's start with basketball. Devontae Davis, I know we had a caller or texter mention this a little earlier. 6'4" lefty point guard out of Jacksonville. Number 79 prospect, I believe on ESPN. 6'4", 4-star. He decommitted from Oklahoma State on October 1st. It took Muss 11 days to get him to commit to Arkansas. And he's expected, according to Kevin McPherson, to sign in the early period coming up November 13th. Now, I'm assuming Eric Musselman was texting him. Him and his coaching staff were texting him a little bit prior to him decommitting, but maybe not. And maybe he just sold him. Whatever he sold him, it worked. Bad news. I think this is the one bad tidbit we'll get to with Hog News. It's Tykeus Crawford, Arkansas's best commit in the 2020 football class. He had offers Bama, Georgia, Missouri, Oklahoma State, Tennessee, Florida State, Southern Cal, Colorado, Texas A&M, and others. He's decommitted. He decommitted about 5 minutes after the Kentucky game. So I believe...
Was that a coincidence?
I don't think so.
Weird timing.
Yeah. Jamie Vance is a guy that reopened his recruiting already, and I think Xavion Capers, who was their initial recruit, that's a question I'll have to ask Nikki tomorrow, but I believe those are the 3 decommits so far. Betting-wise, money-wise, for you gambling heathens out there, Auburn opened up as an 18-point favorite against Arkansas this weekend in Fayetteville, 11 a.m. It's since moved to 18.5, so already the money is heading towards the Auburn Tigers. We'll see if people end up betting the house on Auburn. Initially, when I saw it, I thought that was a little low. I thought Auburn was going to get like 20-something, but these games are weird, man. Vegas knows what they're doing. This is pretty breaking news. According to 24 Sports, Danny West, Devon McClure is in the transfer portal. This is a guy that only has 11 tackles this season. He didn't play against Texas A&M, only 6 snaps against Kentucky. We mentioned the 2 guys, Vance and Crawford, who have both decommitted. I'm wondering if there's some guys that start entering the transfer portal. I'm wondering if that starts happening, because I believe that started today, Matt. I think the transfer portal opened today. Don't hold me to that, but I think that started today. Some good news. Hunter Henry, he scored 2 touchdowns his first game back for the Los Angeles Chargers.
90 seconds to play in this game. Looking right, throwing right for the end zone. Henry caught, touchdown! Chargers! Hunter Henry from Rivers, the second connection for the pair today.
2 touchdowns for the Pulaski Academy product. He looked pretty good in his first game back this season coming off that injury. And I say first game back, I think he played in that first game and is now back from that. Other Pro Hog news, Dusty Hannis has been signed by the Memphis Grizzlies. They waived Matt Moody, who I believe played for Texas Tech in college, and Dusty Hannis signed by the Memphis Grizzlies. So good for 2 PA guys down there in Little Rock, Arkansas. Both I somewhat know. I know Dusty a little better than I do Hunter, so glad for both of them. All right, we got a call out of Northeast Arkansas. Russ is from Jonesboro calling in. Russ, what's on your mind today on halftime?
Hi, Ty. How you doing?
Hey, not too bad, man. How are you on this Monday?
I'm all right. I got a couple things about Chandler Morris. The way I look at it is if Coach does not get his act together, he's going to risk not being able to coach his son next year, because I just don't see him being here long enough to be here with his son, and he's not going to be a good enough coach to go somewhere wherever Chandler ends up going if he doesn't come to Arkansas. I mean, this is going to be his best opportunity to probably coach his son, and it's not looking too good on that end. What do you think about that?
I'm wondering.
If I was Chandler, I would decommit.
He seems.
But he would.
Sorry, go ahead.
But Chandler would have came here if his dad wasn't here. He would have gone somewhere else.
I agree with you 100% on that. So
10 10,000%.
Yeah, if Chad Morris were to leave to go somewhere else after the season, if something were to happen, I tend to think that he would try and get an OC role. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm off base on that, but I think he would go after an OC role, more of a prominent OC role somewhere. And I think there's potential for Chandler to follow him. But you bring up a good point. If Chad Morris doesn't last year at Arkansas, there is no way on God's green earth that Chandler Morris is staying there.
That's
period.
the only reason why he is hanging on here, because of his dad.
Correct. Yeah, 100%.
That's the only reason why he is here. But like, he has good enough to go to any Big 5 school
Clemson,
anywhere.
Auburn, Oklahoma,
Yeah, exactly.
all offered him. Correct, yeah. So I agree.
That's his best chance. He needs to get that together, or he's going to not be able to coach his son.
Yeah.
Because he ain't going to get a job nowhere else where his son's going to go. Unless, like you said, he will be an OC.
Mm-hmm. So, Russ, appreciate the
Thank you,
call.
Ty.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate
All right,
you
no
listening up
problem.
in Northeast Arkansas. Probably listening on hitthatline.com or Facebook live stream, Twitter live stream, YouTube. We got it a variety of different ways. So even if you're not in our terrestrial radio listening area, you can still manage to listen to us. We also always post our best segments, our best interviews on the Halftime Pod, which is going to be found hitthatline.com, Spotify, iTunes, Anchor, wherever you listen to podcasts. It's going to be on there. So we want to make sure of that. All right, to close off the Hog news, the Bama game was announced. 6 p.m. ESPN. So I guess the complaining from Greg Byrne, the Alabama athletic director, has helped out, because that will not be an 11 a.m. game. Arkansas will be playing prime time in Bryant-Denny Stadium next Saturday night. That's an atmosphere you don't necessarily want to walk into. I'll tell you that much. I will tell you that much. Josh and Fort Smith, go back to the Cherokee Casino hotline text. If you want to get in here, 877-377-6963. He asked, so here's a question. How much of these losses go on coaches and how much of these go on players? Maybe they tried to fix Starkel and game and he freaks out and played bad. Josh and Fort Smith. Josh, you bring up a great point. So Jordan Rogers, who was on the broadcast for the SEC Network, kept going back to Starkel's footwork and kept repeating similar, his footwork's not right, this foot's in front of this, he's not planting right or whatever. I can't tell you the exact wording he used, but I know that Joe Craddock has addressed it. And I'm not a big fan of when fans say it's all coaching, because that's not true. Like, you can only tell someone so much before it goes on them a little bit. Like, if Tommy repeatedly told me to do something on air and I continuously disobeyed his orders, you could say that's a little bit coaching, but it's really not. That goes back to me as an individual not getting it right. That's on me after a certain point. Now, if it's little miscues, penalties, and stuff like that and stuff, yes, coaching factors into it. I'm not saying that. But I don't like when 100% blame is pulled away from the players. That's not true. They're young. Yes, I know that. This is one of the youngest teams in college football. But they still need to be held accountable. These are not like 10-year-olds or anything. This is college football. To a certain extent, they need to be held accountable. I know the coaches are held to a much higher standard, which comes with their age, comes with their profession. I get that. But you also have to blame a little bit the players. The players are not blameless through this point of the season. Aaron in Clarksville says, I would like to see Morris fire Craddock. At least it would show the fans that it is not acceptable without actions as opposed to words. He learned from Gus. He calls the players like Gus. Something needs to happen, right? Aaron, I agree with you. This staff cannot remain the same at the end of the season. Something has to happen, whether it's offense, whether it's defense. I think one of the scapegoats is either going to be Dustin Fry or Joe Craddock. Only time will tell on that. So it's getting a little colder outside, and with that means the potential to go camping. Nice little firewood outside, beautiful scenery. We are in Arkansas. We are in the natural state. There's a lot of places to go camping, and if you're going to do that, Breeden RV is the destination. They have their end of the clearance sale going on right now. Great deals on all new RVs, travel trailers, so much more. Breeden RV is the only dealers where customers get maintenance for life. Maintenance for life for free. Breeden RV also has a great selection of pre-camp trailers and RVs to choose from. If you're going to pick out an RV, make sure it's Breeden. All right, coming back, let's get into some college football. We've talked mostly Arkansas, little college football. I went 4-0 on my bets this weekend. Phil did okay too. That's next on Halftime.
Missed a segment or interview? Check out the Halftime Pod at hitthatline.com. This is the Morning Rush.
It's just amazing that when Eric Musselman is in front of the media or in front of the fans, and now we got to see what he's like, seeing him in that coach's role, to see how vocal he was, to see how detail-oriented he seemed to be with just the small things, like, for instance, calling a timeout because his team wasn't lined up correctly on the free throw line. I mean, that's the type of thing that you like to see if you're a Razorback basketball fan.
Don't miss the Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9. Only on ESPN 95.3.
Great camping weather is just around the corner, so at Breeden RV in Van Buren, we're having our year-end clearance sale right now. Get great deals on new RVs like travel trailers that start at $99.95 and fifth wheels starting under $30,000. Breeden RV is the only dealer that gives our new customers maintenance for life for free. We also have a great selection of pre-camp trailers and RVs to choose from. Now is the time to camp, and now is the time to let Breeden RV in Van Buren show you just how easy it can be. Breeden RV, your home for maintenance for life.
Oh, that's an RV.
Now is the best time of year to get more for your money on a new Mahindra. Enjoy 0% interest or save thousands of dollars on a rugged Mahindra tractor. That's more for less on many of Mahindra's best-selling models, with tractors that deliver more lift capacity, fuel efficiency, and built-in weight. So pay 0% interest or save thousands on the world's #1 selling farm tractor. Only at Alma Tractor and Equipment in Alma.
The new Michelin silicone blades last through everything.
On a world record-breaking drive from Alaska to South America in unpredictable conditions.
Thunderstorms, ice storms, they just don't quit.
Rainier Zeidlo chose Michelin Endurance XT silicone wiper blades with advanced Quad-Tech 4-layer coated silicone that repels water, snow, and ice and lasts 2 times longer than other blades.
It's coming down in sheets.
Real world proven. Extreme weather wiping performance. Upgrade to Michelin Endurance XT silicone wiper blades today. Only at Walmart.
Every day, vegetables are ripped from the earth, sliced, diced, even something called julienne. But for just $5 a day, you can help. Get 2 Hardee's Original Roast Beef Sandwiches for just $5. Slow-cooked beef, hand-dipped in rich au jus, each prepared without harming a single vegetable. So come to Hardee's, get 2 Original Roast Beef Sandwiches, and save the veggies. Hardee's, because it tastes better. Available for a limited time after regular breakfast hours at participating restaurants. Tax not included. Price and participation may vary.
Archery season is underway, and black powder season is just days away. And Jelco Outdoors has all your black powder rifles and supplies to get you ready for your hunt. Brands like CVA, Traditions, and Thompson Center. Stop by Jelco Outdoors, your premier locally owned sporting goods store in the River Valley, for all your fall hunting gear. Shop local. Shop Jelco Outdoors. And remember, a great hunt begins at Jelco Outdoors.
This time of year is hectic, and we know you have things to do and places to be. Southern Tire Mart can help you get there and save you money on America's most trusted brands like Michelin and B.F. Goodrich. Take advantage of our $29.95 oil change, which includes a 27-point vehicle inspection. Come see us at Southern Tire Mart just off I-540 at exit 14 in Fort Smith today for quality Michelin and B.F. Goodrich tires and the best-in-class service. Get where you need to be with Michelin, B.F. Goodrich, and Southern Tire Mart.
I bet you're ready to finish that warm weather renovation. Whether you are a do-it-yourself remodeler or a full-time contractor, the paint store in Van Buren is friendly and special orders are no bother. Sue and Vicki, with over 30 years of experience, welcomes all your painting questions and will help you feel confident in your choices of colors from Richards Paint. The paint store is at 1414 Fayetteville Road in Van Buren. Come see them or check them out on Facebook today.
ESPN 95.3. Halftime is brought to you by Coors Light, made to chill. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Wide open in the middle of the field. Hayden inside the 20, inside the 10. Hayden's going to the house. The Hogs ran it right up the middle. Nobody was there. 38 yards. And the Hogs are a PAT away from tying this one up.
Back here on Halftime, ESPN Arkansas, hitthatline.com. Matty T and me, Ty Richardson, holding down the fort the next couple days. Phil's with the kiddos in Canada, so he will be rejoining me on Thursday. All right, I teased it before the break. A couple college football games happened this weekend. This was a big weekend for college football, Week 7. How about Georgia going down to South Carolina in Athens?
A 43-yard try. Camarda to hold. Rodrigo to kick.
to tie it and extend the game. There's the snap, the hold, the kick is away towards the uprights, and no good. No good. Missed it to the left, and South Carolina has stunned Georgia in Athens in double overtime, 20-17.
2 overtimes, and if you watch the game, Parker White, South Carolina's kicker, had a chance to win in the end, and he missed it. A 30-something yard field goal, and I'm like, all right, Georgia's going to win now, and then that happened. It's pretty incredible. Also, big game this weekend. I know, Brendan Spiro, if you're still listening, this was probably your favorite highlight. CeeDee Lamb, if you haven't watched him, dude's one of the best wide receivers in the country.
Hurts has it. Handoff. Flea flicker. Back to Jalen. Lob out. CD wide open. Caught at the 30. To the 25. Dancing midfield to the 20. Breaks a tackle. 15. 10. 5. Touchdown. TD for CD. Oh, mama.
Dude was incredible against Texas. There were 2 different touchdowns he had where there was like 3 or 4 Texas defenders around him. He just bounced off on them and took it to the house. It wasn't as entertaining as last year's Red River rivalry, but it was still a decent game. Texas's defense did all it could to hold Jalen Hurts and Oklahoma down, but the Texas offense, it was more of the OU defense. Alex Greenwich, that defense, they're the real deal. That's going to be a tough football team to beat. And I'm not just talking Big 12. I'm talking when it gets to the college football playoff. Other games, Penn State beat Iowa. Top 20 matchup. They won 17-12 in Iowa City. Notre Dame holds off USC 30-27. And then last game before we get into the bets, LSU wins 42-28. How about Joe Burrow? Only 3 incomplete passes, but the true guy in that game, Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Handoff, Clyde Edwards-Helaire on first down, hole, 30, 25, 20, far sideline, 15, 10, 5, touchdown, Tigers! 39-yard touchdown run for Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Man, that LSU offense, they've come to play this season. I cannot wait for that Alabama-LSU game. Now, I know I've said that a bunch of times since 2011, and Bama's dominated the series and won every game since. But I think LSU finally has the offense to compete with Alabama. Joe Burrow, I hope he shows up in that one. All right, to recap our picks between me and Phil, I had a pretty solid weekend, went 4-0. Texas got that one. Florida did not cover against LSU, so I won that as well. Wisconsin, they blew out Michigan State, won that. And then Hawaii and Boise, the over, I got that. Phil lost the Florida pick. He bet on Florida. Ole Miss did cover against Missouri. Mississippi State, the under at Tennessee, and went that. And then he lost his money ball pick, unfortunately, because Miami won that football game. Let's go back to the Cherokee Casino text line. This is Tommy in Mountain Home saying the program was a dumpster fire before Morris got there. I think there's some truth to that. I mean, the recruiting aspect of it, Bielema looked like he quit when it came to recruiting. It looked like he didn't care about it. And it showed. I mean, the offensive line, that's where you start. Eric in Hot Springs says, I think the whole team is lost. Yeah, it's not just the offense. It's not just the defense. I will say the special teams came to play last week. Traylon Burke's punt return. He had some good punts from Sam Loy. Connor Limpert delivers like he often does. I hope he gets a situation this season where he can end his career on a high note, where he can punch in a game-winning field goal. I just don't know if he's going to get that chance. B. Clarksville text in, it would never be easy for Morris to fade off into the sunset next year because his family is living, or it would be easy, because his family is living in Texas. For them to transition to Arkansas this year might be tough. B.E., I think, okay, so Mackenzie, his daughter, works for the recruiting department. I think, yeah, I guess Miss Paula is down there with Chandler. I think that's right. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I don't really know. I don't keep tabs on Morris's family's whereabouts, but I don't think it's going to be easy for him to just fade off. I think he's going to be frustrated if something were to happen at the end of the season. I think too many people this year think that Chad Morris he doesn't care about the football program. Now, I'm not saying he's done everything right to this point or everything right to continue, because that would just be a gross miscalculation of what's happened so far. But he cares about Arkansas. Now, he might not care about it the same way Houston Nutt did because he was born and raised in this situation, but I'm just telling you that This guy cares about the football program. Now, again, it goes back to the idea that he's not an Arkansas guy, and that's why some of you listening to the program think that he doesn't care. That's not necessarily true, but that's just kind of how you framed it. Doug in Little Rock says, Ty, you keep making this excuse about being the SEC making it so difficult. That being understandable if we're losing SEC games. We're losing to San Jose State and other garbage teams. We're not even competitive outside the conference. Well, Doug, technically you are competitive because you lost to San Jose State close and you lost to Colorado State close. So you're doing okay in the Mountain West, just not for SEC standards. But I see why you're angry. They shouldn't be losing those teams. Every fan has a right to be ticked off on the fact that they've lost to North Texas, Colorado State, San Jose State. Am I forgetting one, Matt? I think that's right. Those are the losses that you just should not have. Maybe Colorado State, North Texas last year, and then this year San Jose State. Yeah, I think that's right. For those out there, if you want to text it, if I'm missing one, let me know.
I like the way he called them garbage teams, though.
Yeah. Jeremy says you have 2 weeks to prepare. It's hard to. How do we allow a wide receiver from Kentucky to rush for over 300 yards? He didn't rush for over 300 yards. He had 196. Why wouldn't you force him to throw it for over 300 to beat you? That's a good point. I don't understand either. I'm not a defensive coordinator. I don't set up the game plan, so I can't tell you tactically how that would work. Alex in Northwest Arkansas said, would Arkansas's record be any different in the East? That's a good question. I think you might be Vanderbilt because if you watch Vanderbilt this year, Vanderbilt is awful. And I say that, but Arkansas has found a way to lose some teams they shouldn't because they just lost to Kentucky. That's an Eastern opponent. Tennessee would be tight. Vanderbilt would be tight. You'd get beat by Florida. You get beat by Georgia. Maybe Tennessee. I don't know. I think they'd be a little better in the East, but it wouldn't be a drastic difference. Text out of the 479, the only way to win another game is if they get a coach that's not scared to win. I think he played a little scared at the end of the first half. But again, Nick Starkel wasn't putting up mind-blowing statistics at that point. So I thought he was just going to try to get to the half and then bring in Ben Hicks. I know another texter referenced that a little earlier, but it didn't happen. Chandler and Roland said McClure is not entering the portal. He is stepping away from the game via Nicky. Yeah, Nicky just saw that, put it on Twitter, so just want to readjust what we said earlier. And again, Danny West tweeted that out from 24/7 Sports earlier, who does the Hawk Hustle here on Tuesdays at 7 o'clock. Be sure to listen to that. There's some great recruiting talk and stuff from Danny, Trey, and RJ Hawk. Again, Nicky made it seem like that Granddaddy Pluck, Davion McClure, is not entering Devon McClure is not entering the transfer portal, and he's just stepping away the game to focus on his degree. Drew Harrison texted, Morris needs to clean house. He needs to get guys that can coach and just recruit. So this is one of the most difficult things about college football is you have to be really good at both in order to be successful. And some guys, like a Butch Jones, pretty good recruiters. Kevin Sumlin, pretty solid recruiter. But those guys couldn't get it done when it came to coaching consistently. Now, I know Sumlin, he had that, I think, 11-2 year with A&M. Is that right? Maybe it was 10-3. His first year with Johnny Manziel, and then they kind of slumped off after that. Butch Jones never really had spectacular years at Tennessee. Those were good recruiters. Just didn't get anything done. There's other ones that you could list, but I'm just thinking SEC Central. Rex from Hector says, it's just as important that the AD does his job too. If the board has to step in and fix this, the problem is the AD is in trouble as well. Hunter Yurchek's not in trouble. I promise, Rex. He's not in trouble. Justin in Boonville says, we got a long one. Chad Morris and his staff put everyone in a no-win situation. It's probably not the right idea to fire the coach because you don't want to set the precedent of a new coach starting every 2 years and having to continue to pay buyouts with coaches that aren't coaching here anymore. It may not be right to hire him and keep him because the team has looked extremely ill-prepared and lackadaisical at times. If you fire the assistants, you're committed to a head coach that has his team ill-prepared and lackadaisical at times. Obviously, you can't continue with the way that things are tough. If you fire, you lose. If you keep him, you lose. But something has to happen at the end of the season, and I think it has to deal with staff changes, Justin. It's not all on Chad Morris, just like it's not all on the coaching staff. The assistants need to be held accountable as well. But the easiest target right now is Chad Morris because he's the most visible. John in Nashville texted in, they moved Chasevis off the field and into the coach's box. Can we move him from the coach's box to off-campus. Yeah, I don't think a lot of people were happy with the defensive performance. But again, I'll go back to this same statement over and over again. It's not all on the defense. Even though people want to blame the defense, they're gashed, y'all. The offense isn't what people thought it would be either last season, and it hasn't improved that much this season. It has to get better. It has to. Or they're just going to be in a difficult situation from here on out.
They need to be less lackadaisical all the way around, I think.
100%. And they
Too
got
much lackadaisical.
Matt, they got a hot start.
That's right. We were so excited, but we all say, we know how this ends.
Yeah, John Neighbors. We know how that...
I need to get that on a T-shirt.
He needs to trademark it for sure. Who the hell is John Neighbors? Needs to be a T-shirt. And then also, we all know how this ends. All right, coming up, QB situation. What's going to happen? Ben Hicks, Nick Starkel, KJ, John Stephen Jones? That's next on Halftime.
Missed a segment or interview? Check out the Halftime Pod at hitthatline.com.
You always get more at Orr.
We always put the customer first at Orr Chevrolet in Fort Smith. Since 1924, the Orr family of dealerships has grown based on one simple principle. Give the customer more money for their trades and give them a lower price on their new vehicle. It's a simple concept, really, but one that very few dealers honor anymore. Hey, we know you paid a lot of money for your vehicle, and Orr Chevrolet wants to pay you the maximum amount for it today. Then we'll give you an awesome price on a new Chevrolet. But we're not done giving you more. Included with any new vehicle sold, Orr Chevy will also give you a lifetime powertrain warranty, 2 years of free maintenance, and free car washes for life. So come get a lower price and more money for your trade today at Orr Chevrolet on Auto Park Drive in Fort Smith and 24/7 at OrChevyFS.com. Chevy, find new roads.
You always get more at Orr.
We've invented a new messaging system using the crisp sounds of Bud Light. Crisp Code. Lesson 42. This is how you say happy hour. It's happy hour. Let's go get some Bud Lights. That's it for today.
Brewed with no corn syrup. Bud Light. Crisp. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Eagle Crest Golf Course is open, and winter rates are now in effect. Just $35 to enjoy Eagle Crest Golf Course. Card included. Winter rates are back, and Eagle Crest is ready for you. Lush zoysia fairways, beautiful bent grass greens, and the best views in the River Valley. Just $35, card included. So get your golf buddies together and head to Eagle Crest Golf Course. Winter rates just $35. Eagle Crest Golf Course, Highway 64, just east of Alma. Did someone say, I'm hungry? Visit 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge on the Avenue. Try the new panini sandwiches like the Chicken Pyro or the Cubana or the signature 906 wings. Jumbo wings roasted with honey bacon jam. Want some spice? Try the black and blue wings. Experience their salads, flatbreads, coffees and desserts, top shelf wines and liquors, premium beers, world-class cigars, all in an atmosphere that feels less like a lounge and more like a destination. Sample, indulge, escape. 906 Cocktail and Cigar Lounge. Treat your appetite on the Avenue. Do you own apartment complexes, condos, and rental property? Then you have made a great investment. Now make another great decision by calling Trinity Multifamily to help you maximize your return. Trinity Multifamily offers full-service property management, marketing, leasing, sales, and all the services to make your cash flow. Take the hassles and frustrations out of ownership and call Trinity Multifamily at 479-452-1817 or online at trinitymultifamily.com. Trinity Multifamily, your teammate in the real estate game.
ESPN 95.3. Touchdown! Halftime is brought to you by Supercuts, who supports local teams. Supercuts. We're super into the movement.
Yeah, they got it going on.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
He lost it. And Arkansas, Tony Bua comes away with it, and Arkansas comes away with the win in 7 overtime.
Back here on Halftime, ESPN Arkansas, hitthatline.com. Got a little flustered for a sec. I forgot that we were talking with Connor O'Gara on Saturday Down South. We've had so much content. We have so many people texting in. This will be a little break from that. So let's go to Connor. on Saturday Down South here on the Cherokee Casino Hotline. Connor, it's been a whirlwind down here in Arkansas, and it's been a pretty interesting week in college football, well, particularly the SEC. How'd your weekend go, man?
No, weekend was good, man. Everything was, everything went according to plan. No upsets or anything. Kind of just a ho-hum weekend, right? No, I mean, it was crazy. The Georgia-South Carolina game, obviously, was nuts. And then just all the excitement from the Florida-LSU game. We had a lot of fun, a lot of coverage with that on SDS. But, yeah, no, it was, I think the weekend sort of lived up to the billing. I enjoyed it. I don't know about yourself.
Oh, well, it was interesting. I will say outside of the Arkansas game, there's a lot of good stuff. And let's start, since we've talked so much Arkansas, I think we've talked an hour and a half of Arkansas to this point. Let's kind of venture into some SEC stuff. Connor, did Will Muschamp save his job this weekend?
Yeah, I didn't think he was going to get fired anyways. That buyout was still, I think, like 20-something million, like $26 million or something like that. I didn't think he was going to get fired this year, barring like complete and total disaster if they won like 2 games or something. But, I definitely think that question is gone now. I think he can sit on that win, that signature win, and say, hey, here's what I can do coming back for you. And I think that part of this was, too, it was the way in which South Carolina won that game. This was the defense that South Carolina fans have been wanting to see since he came over from the defensive coordinator position at Auburn to this job at South Carolina. And what they did to shut down that Georgia offense was unbelievable. Everybody's going to want to talk about Georgia and how they collapsed, how they didn't show up for that game, and that's fair and that's true. But what South Carolina did to force them into some of those spots was incredible. South Carolina made sure that Georgia receivers didn't have any separation. That defensive line played lights out. Their linebackers were everywhere. I just don't know how you can play a much better game against that Georgia team than what South Carolina did. And Will Muschamp is a defensive-minded guy. He obviously had a big hand in that game plan. And South Carolina was ready to go from the jump, and Will Muschamp deserves a ton of credit for it.
Did you think that Georgia was going to find a way to win when Parker White missed that field goal?
Yeah, I mean, at that point, yes. But during that game, and I tweeted this out, it just started to feel like 2008 Ole Miss, Florida, the promise game, as it became known, where Tim Tebow afterwards said, you're never going to see this type of performance again. And it's just sort of listless from this top 5 team who we expect to go potentially to the playoff and a national championship that just looks like it's not ready to play for an early game against an unranked team. And you're just kind of wondering, when is this going to happen? Or, wow, are we in store for an upset? And when something like that happens, then yeah, obviously you think, okay, maybe Georgia actually can pull this out and survive it. But, they've been so upset-proof that I think it was just alarming seeing the way that they came out in the second half, too. It just did not look like they had it. And sure enough, the coaching staff didn't make the right adjustments offensively. They were stagnant, couldn't get any spacing going, couldn't spread the ball out. And I think that Georgia right now has a lot of issues moving forward.
Connor, what about this great pregame talk with Tom Rinaldi and Eddie O?
Welcome to Death Valley, where opponents' dream come to die. Good luck, Coach. Go Tigers.
When you hear that, Connor, I mean, that has to be one of the best pregame interviews that ESPN has ever done with any college football coach, right?
I think so. And people right now, I think, are starting to finally come around to the belief that Coach O actually knows what he's doing, and he's not just some mascot or something like that. I mean, we just talked about Georgia not being ready to go, and Georgia really wasn't ready to go for the last 3 first halves that it played. And you never question that with LSU. LSU shows up ready to go every single time, and Coach O makes sure that team is not going to come out sleepwalking. Whatever they do, they're going to come out doing it at full speed, and they're going to be fired up to play. And they were fired up to play on Saturday night. You could see just from that pregame interview, okay, this is the guy that they're listening to. Who wouldn't want to run through a wall for that guy? Of course they're going to be fired up, ready to go. I think that he's still underrated as a coach nationally, and I think hopefully after a game like that, people are coming around a little bit more to the belief that he is an elite coach. I think he's a top 10 coach in college football right now, and I know that we didn't think we'd be saying that a few years ago, but I think we're already at that point.
I know you wrote an article earlier this year comparing him with Tom Herman. Was it also Smart too, or was it just Herman and Eddie O?
I was just kind of basing it off of those two guys just because obviously LSU came up short of getting Tom Herman, and Coach O was considered the consolation prize, so to speak. But I think both coaches have done well in their respective homes, and it worked out better for both schools that they each got the coaches that they did, because I think Tom Herman would be doing this at LSU, and I don't think and that's not to say that Coach O would be doing this at Texas. He belongs in that job. And I think right now, this LSU team is just so confident. They're confident in part because of the decisions their head coach has made, not only to be able to fire that team up on a weekly basis, but just the coaching decisions, to be able to talk Steve Ensminger into saying, into getting on board with the belief that Joe Brady was going to come in and retool the offense and you guys are going to work together. That's not an easy thing to do. Deciding at the middle of the offseason last year that, you need to go out and get a new quarterback to be able to have a chance to compete in the SEC and do so and get Joe Burrow, and then to see what he's doing, that's not easy to do. To be able to recruit these receivers who are just lighting up the scoreboard for LSU, that's not easy to do. But repeatedly, that's all he does. And Derek Stingley, the in-state cornerback, who is one of the top recruits in the country last year, looks like an All-American already. That's a guy that Coach O recruited as well. So, yeah, I give the staff just so much credit for frog in my throat. Sorry about it.
You're good.
For what they've been able to do so far. And I think that Coach O right now is just he's trending in the right direction, that's for sure.
If you have any SEC football questions, text into the Cherokee Casino hotline, 877-377-6963 for Saturday Down South's Connor O'Gara. So, Connor, I almost want the Auburn game to be in Jordan-Hare Stadium because I know they got to go to Starkville next week, and I'm speaking to LSU, but that's not going to be as much of a test for the Tigers than a potential Auburn game on the road because the Alabama game, it's not too far off. That's what everyone wants to see, LSU, Alabama. Do you think they're going to be battle-tested enough to that point outside of the Texas game in Austin to compete and ultimately win that game in Tuscaloosa?
Yeah, I mean, selfishly speaking, because we're actually going to be at the Auburn-LSU game in Baton Rouge in a couple weeks. So I have no problem with that game being in Baton Rouge. But, no, I do think that LSU will be battle-tested. I mean, this was still a top-5 Florida defense. Yeah, they got to face them at home, and they got to deal with the loss of John Grenard and Jabari Zuniga in this game. But this was still a really, really good Florida defense and a great test for what the LSU offense is going to see later on. And they're still going to have to face Alabama in Alabama. Mm-hmm. And for many, that's how this season is going to be defined for LSU. But, yeah, I mean, in terms of it being a better matchup overall, I would like to see that. And I would like to see that from Auburn's standpoint, too. If Auburn can kind of get up for that type of game, we've seen the Jordan-Hare advantage in years past and what it could do in a game like Georgia or in a game like the 2017 Iron Bowl. Could it be like that against LSU this year? Obviously, we won't get to see that. We'll have to wait later on in the year until Georgia goes there, until Bama goes there. But, yeah, I think LSU is still going to be plenty tested, and I wouldn't necessarily worry about that for this team.
Connor got a text in on the Cherokee Casino hotline. This is from Drake. He asked you, between Vanderbilt and Arkansas, which program is in worse shape? And we'll close you out with that, man.
I think Vandy right now, just because I think what we just saw the other day, I mean, losing by 24 at home against UNLV and 1-4 UNLV, that's rough. And Malcolm Turner is going to have a serious decision to make at the end of the season about his head coach and Derek Mason and whether or not he's going to be worth keeping because it's just been awful. That team looks like it's given up on him. There's no excuse for an SEC team to look that bad on a given Saturday. And even worse, it's a stadium that's empty. Opposing fan bases are the ones that dominate it. It feels like Mandy's playing on the road week in, week out. Arkansas at least has a loyal fan base, and it looks like they're going to be able. They would rally around Chad Morris if they were able to win. I don't know what you can really rally behind at Vandy right now.
That's Connor O'Gara, Saturday Down South columnist. You can read all his work there. You can follow him on Twitter at CJ O'Gara. Connor, we really appreciate you joining us every Monday talking college football at about 1:30, man.
Yep, appreciate it.
Man, that's a little insight from our SEC guy, Connor O'Gara. So traditionally, next segment, we touch on 3 Up, 3 Down. That's what Phil and I do. But because he's not here and because of what happened on Saturday night, I think we're going to stick more with Arkansas football. We're going to skip that segment and just continue on with the Arkansas football conversation. I teased it before last break. Arkansas QB situation. Where's it going? It's got to be Hicks, right? I know that the quarterback situation is up in the air at this point, but it's got to be Hicks against Auburn, right? Even though you said the same thing about Starkville a couple weeks ago. This has been one of the most puzzling situations, quarterback-wise, where a quarterback who looks good one week doesn't look the other. It's just a weird situation. Some people are calling for KJ Jefferson. Some people are calling for John Stephen Jones. Who do you want to see in there? 877-377-6963. Call or text in. Quarterback talk, that's coming up next on Halftime. ESPN Arkansas, hitthatline.com.
Missed a segment or interview? Check out the Halftime Pod at hitthatline.com.
Right now, I'm holding a perfectly ice-cold Coors Light. You know how I know it's the perfect temperature? Because the mountain on the can is blue. And also, it's really cold. Every Coors Light is cold filtered, cold lagered, and cold packaged. Notice how many times I said cold? 3 times. It's that cold. So make sure the mountain on your can of Coors Light is blue, because that means it's ready to enjoy. 2019 Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Celebrate responsibly.
Protection with possibilities. Have past losses made you cautious about taking on risk with your investments? Are you concerned that your savings are not generating the returns you need? If you are interested in protecting your money and capturing potential investment growth, contact Brad Lewis at United Financial Advisors at 242-7466 or ufadvisors.net to see whether market-linked CDs may be the right solution for you.
Securities and advisory service offered through Royal Alliance Associates, member FINRA, SIPC. United Financial Advisors is a marketing destination.
Miss Anna's on Towson is quickly becoming one of Fort Smith's favorite haunts. We're now serving breakfast from 6 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. 7 days a week. Blue Plate specials served Monday through Friday. And don't forget about 99-cent Pie Tuesday. So whether you're craving some of our great kickin' chicken or one of our world-famous desserts, Miss Anna's is the place to be. 5001 Towson Avenue in Fort Smith, 649-6300. That's 649-6300.
Being the family superhero is a tireless job, constantly defending against skinned knees and sibling supervillains that won't share. But who's there for them if you're not? Your local Shelter Insurance agent. With an insurance superhero sidekick, you can find a life insurance plan that helps provide a safety net for your family. Find your insurance superhero at shelterinsurance.com. We're your shield. We're your shelter. Shelter Life Insurance Company, Columbia, Missouri.
Ask Shelter agents Brandon Zimmerman or Chris Dooley about a free insurance review.
Supercuts of Arkansas is raising breast cancer awareness and donating to Bright Pink. Bright Pink is the only nonprofit organization that focuses on prevention and early detection of breast and ovarian cancer. Join the fight, breast cancer awareness. Donating to Bright Pink, the only nonprofit organization. Supercuts help them reach their goal of $10,000. Supercuts is conveniently located and serving its community 7 days a week. Supercuts, they're super into the movement. Supercuts, fresh, clean, sharp.
Hi folks, Larry Rath here for Rath Auto Resources. Fall is my favorite time of the year. Football, fine weather, and my chance to flip the lot. We're out to sell every single car in our Rath Road Ready inventory and flip the lot during our fall clearance. That's right, every vehicle must go. To make it happen, we're discounting our entire inventory with savings up to $4,300 below retail. Even our special purchase vehicles are included, like 2018 Hyundai Elantra SELs for only $13,991. If you're keeping the car you have, let us take care of it for you in our Meineke Car Care Center, with buy 3, get 1 free on all tires and 50% off brake pads. Don't miss out on the savings. Help us flip the lot. Get the Rath Road Ready vehicle that's perfect for you and save up to $4,300 during the fall clearance at Arkansas's #1 rated and reviewed independent dealer, Rath Auto Resources, and the Meineke Car Care Center, 4515 Towson Avenue, Fort Smith, or online at rathauto.com.
Requires bank approval. Vehicle purchase price affects trade allowance.
Unlimited personal group training at the Fort Smith Athletic Club. Personal group training is a great way to create accountability for your fitness while improving mobility, endurance, and overall wellness. Reach your fitness goals faster with personal group training. Only $60 a month. Call Mike Johnson at 479-926-0193. These workouts are high intensity and get results in under an hour. Only $60 a month. Call for class schedules and details. 479-926-0193. Results happen here at the Fort Smith Athletic Club.
ESPN 95.3. Halftime is brought to you by Coors Light, made to chill. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Ty Richardson.
Brantley trying to turn the corner, lost the football, and the Hawks have it. They will have it at the 35-yard line. Jevin Calloway came up to make the hit.
Halftime on ESPN Arkansas, hitthatline.com. Matt Travis, Ty Richardson in here. Phil Elson rejoining the show back on Thursday. Chad Morris at his press conference today said that Nick and Ben will 1 reps this week. And Ruskin brings up a good point. In a year and a half, you still don't have a sure thing at quarterback. And you had a sure thing when Chad Morrison was at SMU with Ben Hicks. You had a sure thing when he was at Clemson with Tosh Boyd. But that has yet to come to fruition at Arkansas, unfortunately, for the fans listening to the program. Ben Hicks comes in 5 for 8, 81 yards after Nick Starkel doesn't look good at all. You look at Starkel's things, and I tried to tell y'all. I tried to tell you earlier before the season began that comparisons with Nick Starkel and Ryan Mallett were disgusting. A complete disrespect to Ryan Mallett 1-5. I didn't want to be right, but I was. Nick Starkel has not been the guy that many thought you would be this year. Yes, he has the arm strength, but he doesn't have other stuff that you need along with that. His statistics this year not great. He goes 7 for 19 against Kentucky, 12 of 17 versus Texas A&M before the injury. San Jose State, the 5-pick game. Colorado State looked pretty solid against Colorado State. I'll give him that. Ole Miss gave him a little spark in the second half. I'll give him that as well. But the inconsistency has been there. And again, I don't want to beat up on the kid, but the idea out there that this was going to be the savior of this football team this year, I haven't really come out in front of what's going to happen next year because you still have him, KJ, obviously Chandler coming in. We'll see what happens with the quarterback situation there. But I tried to tell you. For those out here who are asking for John Stephen Jones, I just don't agree with you. We heard the same great things about Dalton Hyatt last year, who Smith's moved to wide receiver. John Stephen Jones, anytime they mention him, I think that's just trying to give Jerry Jones a little satisfaction that his grandson's on the football team. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this kid's better than I'm making him out to be. But that's just my opinion on that. And for those asking for KJ Jefferson to start, you don't want him to start against maybe the best defensive line in college football against Auburn this week. I don't care if it's at home. They would eat him alive. Steele would have so many blitz packages coming after him this weekend. He would get crushed, especially with that offensive line that hasn't really mounted any defense against most rushes this season. Eric in Hot Springs asked the question on the Cherokee Casino hotline. He says, why can't they make a clause in coach's contract if they don't produce, they're let go with the buyout? Well, Eric, it's because coaches don't want that, and coaches give what they want. Hunter Yurchek came out in one of his opening press conferences, says losing is cause to fire something. I butchered that, but he said something along those lines. That's just not in the realm of possibility, in the realm of reality. It's not. You can say that. You can get fans excited about, oh, if this coach loses, we can fire him and don't have to pay him his buyout. It's just not going to happen. Coaches aren't going to suddenly transform their contracts just for the love of the game. It's just not going to happen. Another text on the Cherokee Casino hotline. This is from the 806 area code. He asked, I don't understand how all the quarterbacks are able to run against us, but ours struggle to get back to the line of scrimmage. Well, Lynn Bowden was a stud athlete out of high school. Nick Starkel and Ben Hicks, not necessarily the best athletes. Ben Hicks has showed a little ability running the football against A&M, and he's escaped the pocket sometimes, but there's a difference between a mobile quarterback like Johnny Manziel and then a Nick Starkel or Ben Hicks. It just is. By the way, if you text us in, everyone, text us your name and where you're calling or texting from. That way we can have that up there on our Cherokee Casino hotline. And we don't have to do it. You don't have to do it every time. Just do it once, and we have a system in place where it allows us to keep your name and keep where you're texting from. Got a text out of the 870 asking, is it possibility that KJ Jefferson will see playing time this year? Again, I've laid out what I think should happen. The last 4 games, Mississippi State at home, Western Kentucky at home, bye week, LSU, Baton Rouge, Missouri, in Little Rock. That's the stretch that I think he should play. Will it happen? I don't know. That's just the stretch I think that KJ Jefferson should play in. Alex in Northwest Arkansas text in, would love to see both KJ and John Stephen, even if it's just for a quarter. What do we have to lose? We have more football games to lose. I just don't see John Stephen Jones as an option. And I hope he proves me wrong. I hope he gets playing time and comes in and blows the doors off of some SEC this season. I just don't think it's going to happen. Text out the 479. Again, text us your name. Text us where you're texting from if you're going to text in. What makes you like Hicks over Starkel? Did you watch the last game? Did you watch what he did in the A&M game? I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Nick Starkel just been wildly inconsistent this year. Red zone deficiencies. Yes, he has the better arm. Yes, he has the higher ceiling. But it's not like he's just taken the quarterback starting job and run with it and just outran Ben Hicks to the finish line dramatically. He's just jogging alongside him, and Hicks is keeping up. Props to Ben Hicks for coming in and doing what he did against Texas A&M. Props to him doing what he did against Kentucky, at least giving Arkansas a chance to win. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that he was incredible in that football game, but I think both those games really came down to the offensive line not giving him enough time down the stretch at the end. He got clobbered on that fourth down play where he tried to hit O'Grady, and his arm got hit against Kentucky on that fourth down play. So that's what I think about that. If someone has a different opinion on the Starkel and Hicks debate, call or text in 877-377-6963. Rex from Hector says, we had this QB problem last year, so it really doesn't matter who they play. Again, Rex, I'll go back to what Ruskin said. A year and a half, you still don't know who your quarterback is. Either way, it was Ty Storr and Cole Kelly last year. It's been Nick Starkel, Ben Hicks this year. B in Clarksville said, Ben Hicks dodges defenders like Frogger dodges cars. Man, I have not played Frogger in a minute, BE. That was a fun game back in the day. A really fun game. Adam in Central Arkansas text in, I want to see if KJ and John Stephen Jones are players. At this point, I see 5 L's and a hard-fought game against Western Kentucky. I want to see if Morris has coached these two into winners. That's what Adam in Central Arkansas says. I want to see KJ play some in the last 4 games. I really don't have a desire to see John Stephen Jones. Maybe I'm not giving the kid enough credit. I hope I'm wrong. This is one of the times where I actually hope I'm wrong as we're doing this radio show, because I never want a kid on Arkansas to fail. I'm just telling you what I think about his chances are performing on the field. It's not just John Stephen Jones. It's other guys that they have, other players. I mean, it could be basketball, football, baseball. But just telling you what I think. And I don't see John Stephen Jones making an impact on this football team. Robbie texting in on the Cherokee Casino hotline, asking possibly playing Tennessee next year to break the all-time SEC losing streak. Man, that would be so rough if Arkansas actually got to the point where they broke the all-time SEC losing streak. Again, this was a program that went to a BCS Bowl in 2010, went to a Cotton Bowl, 11 wins in 2011. This is not the Chicago Cubs where it's over 100 years from reaching the World Series. And I know those 2 games I'm referring to, those 2 moments were not the pinnacle of college football. But you were not far off from actually being relevant in the SEC West. And now you're just a placeholder. You're just a laughingstock. That's what you become. Seth from Lavaca asked, does Sosa Agim get drafted? I think so. I think he's been pretty solid. He's getting, if you watch the games this season, Seth, he's getting more of the double teams. He's getting more of the offensive line's attention, whoever they're playing, because they don't have a lot of guys outside of him that are really making plays consistently. Now, every once in a while, you'll have one of the freshmen step up, or you'll have Gabe Richardson or one of the other guys make a play, but he's been, I think, the most consistent, right? Would you say that's fair? I would think so. I mean, if you're watching the games, I would think that's pretty fair on kind of what he's done this year, but again, everyone has their different opinion when it comes to that. I think he's been pretty solid, but you need help sometimes. B from Clarksville says, good show today. I appreciate that, man. It's weird not having Phil. Phil texted me actually before the show. He's like, man, I wish I could do the show with you today. Really want to talk about this game, but it just happened like it did. We're glad to have Matt in here.
He texted that from Canada?
Yeah.
I wonder how expensive that was.
I hope I don't get charged.
And did they charge him in loonies?
Do I get? Is that what their currency's
Canadian
called?
money, yeah.
What did he say? Yeah, wish he could talk about the game. I don't even know what the currency is in Canada. If you hadn't said that, I would have just assumed they called it dollars or something. Porter asks about all the mentions in quarterback play. We have the top rusher in the SEC, and he only gets 13 touches. Porter brings up a good point. Rakeem Boyd should have got more touches. I heard Trey Biddy talking about that Traylon Burks should have got more touches. Trey Knox should have been throwing the ball more. Get the ball to your dudes. Get the ball to your playmakers. It's a simple concept, and I know it's harder than I'm making it out to be, but sometimes you just got to get back to the basics. Get the guys who can make plays the football, and typically good things will happen. Matt, it's been a good show today, man. Thanks for stepping in. We got 2 more of these shows, Tuesday and Wednesday. Look forward to doing it with you the rest of the way.
Sounds fun.
Nikki Stavenell is going to join us tomorrow. A little recruiting talk. It's probably not going to be all that great. I'm talking about not the interview, but what's happening with the news. So that's coming up tomorrow. Got an action-packed show. Tuesdays are usually fun. So we'll get to that. For Matt Travis, I'm Ty Richardson. We'll see you tomorrow, buddies. 12 to 2 on halftime.